Let's talk about AI in the workplace. And I mean really talk about it. Forget the hype for a second, because we're not talking about just another tech trend today. We're talking about a fundamental evolution in how a business actually operates. See, becoming AI native isn't just about sprinkling some new tools on top of your old processes. It's about rebuilding your company's entire operating system from the ground up to run on intelligent, automated systems.
So here's what we're going to cover. First, we'll talk about moving past this chaotic thing called vibe coding. Then, we'll follow the career path of an AI agent, from apprentice to expert. After that, we'll look at some really radical ROI from a case study, see how to manage all this power with the right guardrails, and then we'll wrap up with the first practical step you can take on Monday morning.
All right, let's dive in. Right now, a lot of teams are using AI in these little isolated pockets, right? A bit of code generation over here, maybe some content writing over there, and it feels productive. It feels like you're on the cutting edge. But honestly, it's inefficient, and it's totally unsustainable if you want to scale. This is what's known as vibe coding, and it's the single biggest thing holding back the real AI revolution.
I love this analogy because it's so spot on. We are not just trying to build a faster horse here. We're building an entirely new kind of vehicle. Going AI native means you have to completely redefine what speed, efficiency, and design even mean in your business. It is a total rethink of how you create and deliver value to your customers.
So here's the difference in a nutshell. Vibe coding is like giving a shiny new power drill to one carpenter on a massive construction site. Yeah, they might put in a few screws faster, and that's a small win. But an AI native approach, that's about automating the entire construction process, from the initial blueprint to the final assembly, with all the safety checks built right in. One is a tactic, the other is the whole system.
Now, to build this new system, we're going to need a new kind of worker. So let's meet the star of our show today, the AI agent. And this isn't just a tool, you got to think of it more like a digital team member, one with its own career path and everything.
And let's be super clear about what an agent is. A chatbot is passive, right? It just sits there, it waits for your prompt, it gives you an answer, and then poof, it forgets everything. An AI agent is proactive. It has a set of instructions. It remembers your past conversations. It can actually access your tools like Jira or your CRM, and it can take action on its own to get a job done. It is a true digital coworker.
And these agents, they don't just appear out of nowhere, fully formed. They grow. They start out as an apprentice, just handling simple, single tasks. Then they become guided, able to use context and memory. The next step is they become empowered, with access to all your tools to run entire workflows. And finally, they mature into an orchestrator, managing whole teams of other agents all by themselves. It's exactly like watching a new hire grow into a senior manager.
And you can actually map this growth to the tools you're probably already using. That apprentice level, that's your basic ChatGPT. The guided level is kind of like using custom GPTs that have some memory. Empowered agents, well, that's something like GitHub Copilot, which is integrated right into your workflow. And the orchestrator, that's where you see platforms like NNN coming into play, coordinating everything to run a whole process from start to finish.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what about the results? Does this stuff actually work in the real world? Well, let's take a look at a case study where a real web application was built using exactly this AI native approach.
First up, the timeline. It took just 2 days. 2. That's from a completely blank page, just an idea, to a fully functioning deployable web app. And it was all done by a single person who is armed with AI agents. Now, just pause for a second and think about that. How many weeks or even months would that same project take your team right now?
That incredible speed translates to a development cycle that is 7 times faster than a traditional team. We're not talking about a little 10% improvement here. We're talking about a fundamental shift in velocity. This is the kind of speed that lets you out-innovate everybody else, testing out ideas in a single afternoon that used to take an entire quarter.
And finally, the money. The net savings on this one small project was over $5,000. And that's not just savings. That's capital you can now reinvest into more experiments, bigger bets. Now, imagine multiplying that by every single project your company runs in a year. The financial impact isn't just big, it's absolutely transformative.
So let's put it all side by side. Your traditional team, 120 hours, $6,000. The AI accelerated solo developer, just 16 hours and less than $900. The return on investment here isn't just positive, it's absolutely radical. There's no other way to describe it.
But I know what you're thinking. With this much power, this much autonomy, how do we keep control? How do we make sure everything is secure and compliant?
Well, this is where the idea of orchestration with guardrails is so important. It's all about enabling autonomy, not unleashing chaos.
The way we manage this is through something we call the AI factory. Just think of it as the central nervous system for your whole AI native business. It's a platform that lets you create, deploy, and connect all your agents. But, and this is the most important part, it enforces the rules, your rules on governance, data, and ethics.
So inside this factory, you have an agent registry where you catalog all your digital workers. You have a workflow orchestrator that connects them to get real work done. There's a governance layer that applies all your policies consistently, and of course, a monitoring system that gives you full visibility and a feedback loop to keep improving. Every single piece is designed for controlled, scalable automation.
And the foundation of this entire system is a really simple but powerful data classification strategy. You have to categorize your data from public all the way to secret. This isn't about letting AI just run wild through your files. It's about setting crystal clear, precise boundaries for what any agent can and cannot access. This is how you guarantee your most sensitive information stays protected.
Security has to be baked in from day one. That means you treat your agents just like digital employees. With role-based access controls, we put them in sandboxes so they can only touch what they're supposed to. Everything is encrypted, and every single action is logged for a clear audit trail. This is not a hobbyist setup. This is enterprise-grade security for an AI-native world, and it's built to align with frameworks like GDPR.
So how do you actually start this journey? I know it can feel pretty overwhelming, but the path forward is actually clearer than you might think. Let's break it down into a practical roadmap that you can literally start thinking about next week.
The whole journey really has three main phases. You start simple. You begin by just augmenting individual roles, giving your team AI co-pilots for their daily tasks. From there, you start connecting these augmented roles to optimize entire workflows. And then finally, you integrate everything into a fully AI-native software development lifecycle. It's a classic crawl, walk, run approach. So, what can you actually do on Monday? Start small. Seriously, identify one repetitive, low-risk task. Summarizing meeting notes is a perfect example. Assign a champion, someone to lead a little pilot. Measure the time saved, and then iterate. Give the agent more tools, give it better instructions. You don't need a huge budget or a grand plan. You just need to start. And that really brings us to the final and most crucial point. The transition to becoming an AI-native business doesn't start with some multi-year strategy document. It starts with a single, small step. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. What is the very first repetitive, low-value task that you are going to automate this week?